A secret meeting in the basement of the IMF has paved the way for a surprise breakthrough in US-China trade talks. Top officials from both nations now agreeing to slash tariffs by 115 points for 90 days, marking the first real progress since the Trump-era trade war began, both sides claiming victory. The big question remains, who blinked first? For more, we're joined by Brad Gastworth from Unearthing Opportunities. Great to see you. Why do you think these talks were kept so secretive?
Yeah, I mean, what a volatile time it's been. But yeah, I mean, it's a good question there, Aaron. I'm not sure why. I think that there might have been a lot of speculation, and maybe there would have been some pressure on both sides. So, it's a great question. Not sure why it was so quiet and secretive, but ultimately, the market liked it, and they're making progress. The question will be, will this really continue, or will there be a standoff in the months ahead after the pause?
What pushed both sides to agree to this now?
So I speculate that it really, from our perspective, from the United States perspective, I think Trump pays attention to the markets. I think with the markets getting crushed with his tariff commentary, I think that played a big role with him, taking a little bit of a breather. I'm a little bit surprised to see what did take place. I knew he was going to back off, which he did. So that's certainly a surprise. Now, the big question will remain, will it continue, or is this just a pause and then it goes back to what we saw previously? I think the market right now will be a little bit in this, trading zone until we get some closure. But right now, all these news points are positive. So, I mean, it leads you to believe that there is going to be some progress.
Yes, the 90-day truce, as you mentioned, is it progress or is it a pause, is a really great point, because we have seen it with all of the trade deals, right? We have seen all of these huge shocks to the market when it's first announced, and then the tit for tat as well, and then there's this pause, but there's a length of time attached. So how comfortable can the market be at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, and that's why I think we're going to be a little bit range bound to a degree until we get some closure. I mean, again, when we get these individual updates where we get some positive points, I think that plays into people feeling a lot more comfortable with what's going to happen, and maybe there'll be a better deal down the road. But until we get final closure, I think there's going to be volatility. But I do think, there's a lot of positive momentum with AI. We're in its early innings. It's still the reason why global markets are trending higher and will trend higher if this trade war, goes away, or at least it subsides a bit.
I want to get your thoughts when you see that the market is back up to, I guess, gains for 2025 after experiencing some pretty rapid losses very quickly as the trade war began. Do you think that what we have seen this week is necessarily a reaction to China and a 90-day pause, or the market's starting to get a feeling of how Trump actually operates, right? They're looking for perhaps some sort of patterns, and now they're starting to see them, that there's the big shock, then there's the pause, then comes the agreement, and they're looking for maybe a way to deal with the volatility.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good questions there, and I'm not sure. The reality is, I don't know if there's really a pattern in it. I don't know if that pattern is being identified as you mentioned. I do think that the pause and the deal is really the reason behind the rally, and I think there is certainly people, even like myself, that we did not think that you would see some type of an agreement or even a pause, especially from the Trump side. I mean, that's a big change from his stance. So, I think, again, because markets have been, hit quite hard with the tariff commentary, and now with this big rally afterwards, maybe he does take a little bit of a different stance towards tariffs overall, especially on the global basis, and on big powerhouses like China.
We asked a key question at the top. I want to get your thoughts. Who won? Who came out on top, Washington or Beijing?
I think it was a pretty good deal overall. I mean, look, in terms of, we're getting more money than we were going to get previously. I think it's pretty fair. I would say still U.S. right now, it seems like has a little bit of the upper hand.
And just in terms of those parcels worth under $800, the so-called TMU tax, that hasn't gone. What do you think will happen there?
I think everything's on the table, quite honestly. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, there's so many areas, and now let's think about moving it forward. If there's really going to be some agreement, is this going to change the semiconductor landscape? Are there going to be less things being blocked, sent to China. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. And I think this is just the very, early stages. It's showing cooperation from both sides. I think if they didn't come to this, this market would have gone into a really strong bear market. And you would have seen global recession. I truly believe that, because we were heading that way and the markets were telling us. Now, in terms of employment and other things happening here, there's still a lot of red flags that we have to pay attention to. The labor market's not good here in the States. I mean, there's some little bit pockets of strength that we're hearing and seeing, but if you every day you can't miss a day where there's major layoffs at one of these large corporations here in the States. On the federal side, you're seeing cuts, so that will play into things. Now you have efficiency with AI, which helps corporations with their finances and profitability, and that's why stocks are up. But again, I'm more concerned on the labor market, which is an indicator we're paying attention to.
All right, Brad Gasworth, appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.